Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I have got a wonderful guest with me, a fellow pharmacy owner, Frank Tant, and I'll let him introduce himself, but I've known him for a couple years and he owns a couple of pharmacies. So Frank, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about your pharmacies and where you're at.
Sure. So I've I've really been in this industry for about 20 years. Started out as a tech at 19 years old. I'm 38, so not quite 20. Eventually went to pharmacy school, got out. I bought my first one about 5 years ago. We took it from about 2.5 million in revenue up to almost 5 in less than 3 years. And then we had the opportunity to buy a second one. We did that about 2.5 years into that 5-year journey. We've had it now for about 3 years, and it's rocking and rolling. We took it from 1.1 to it's almost caught up to the other store. So it's about 4.5 million right now in revenue. And we're building a third location. Well, I say building, we grabbed this bank building that was set up perfect for what we wanted to do. Got a steal on that. And so it's currently being renovated. We should have a third pharmacy open the next, 3 to 6 months. Also going to hire a nurse practitioner to put in there as well. Got 3 clinical rooms for that person. And so a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, well, you've been very successful for many reasons, but I think one of those is that you're not afraid to try something new. And so we're here today talking about marketing. I had posted a question in one of the Facebook groups and you popped in with what had been working for you. So kind of tell me a little bit about your relationship with just marketing in general. How do you approach it? What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, so I'm like everybody else. I hate it, right? Especially when you first get into the business, you need to do it. It's something that's you're being fed every time you go to a conference, every time maybe your sales rep comes around, your buying group rep, whatever. They're always telling you, hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, and you don't do it. You should have an active Facebook page, and a good website, stuff like that. And I did like most people. I went with the minimalist approach to begin with. I hooked up with digital pharmacists, and we still are with them. But I real quickly didn't like, and I don't want to really talk negative about them because we still use them. We like some stuff about them, but there's some things they do that I don't care for. They kind of like put out this information weekly, daily, whatever, that's so generic that it's not applicable to anybody. And I noticed that nobody was looking at it. And so I quickly just turned it off. I'd rather not have that, have nothing than have what I was getting. And so we turned it off. I stayed in that mode for probably for about 4 years. We would do little mail outs, these like, large, almost cardboard size mail outs that we'd get great attention on. And so I knew we needed to do something more because it worked every time. I was amazed at how many people came in the door. We have a pretty expansive dollar wall, and we did like a 2 for $1, losing a quarter every time we sold something, but we didn't care because all the new faces that were coming in, the new customers we were grabbing was just tremendous. And so we would dabble in it, but I still to this day don't like it. Which is where we got to where we are today. So we can go into that story as much as you want to. But I came across a college person who was about to graduate in end of summer, and she wanted some exposure in marketing. And I was like, well, let's just hire her. Like, it'd be great to like someone who's studying this stuff. We're probably gonna have to like push her around like the direction we wanted to go, but that'd be great because she'll be doing exactly what we wanted to do. And so we did that. She had a super flexible schedule. She loved it. We were able to pay her $10 an hour. So I was like, work the Facebook page, do this little bit of marketing, and we'll also like plug you in with like some OTC stuff, like keeping that organized, keeping that, looking fresh and good. And she did a tremendous job. And so we now have brought her on full time, and now it's incredible. I mean, the marketing stuff, I don't have to fool with it. I tell her, point her in the right direction, and she takes it and runs. And she's so high energy and focused. I actually picked up at Diversify, you mentioned, is it Canva or Canvas? I forget the name.
Canva. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I mentioned that. So oh, yeah, we use that in class and stuff. I was like, take that and run with it. I was like, I heard it's a great thing. I've never used it, but I see her work that she does with it. And you can look at our Facebook page. She does good stuff now. You go back 6 months ago, it doesn't look that great. But you see what we're doing now. She's doing a great job. She's pre-scheduling posts on there, looking out for holidays, times we're going to be closed, stuff like that, and just scheduling so they automatically post, doing everything I don't want to do, but I know we need to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing with marketing is it doesn't have to be the pharmacist. Most people I would actually say no, don't have the pharmacist market because in general we suck at it. Like pharmacists are not the marketing type. And go find somebody who that is they're passionate about it. You mentioned something earlier about you were okay losing a quarter per sale to get that traffic in. And I think that's a very important point is that pharmacy owners don't really realize the value of getting foot traffic in the door, because once you get people in the door, you get to sell them not just on prescriptions, but you can sell them into supplements, you can sell them into programs. And the important thing is to have something to sell to those people, because really acquiring a new patient for a quarter, cost or dollar cost is super cheap. Most brick and mortar stores pay anywhere from 30 to hundreds of dollars to acquire a new patient. So if you can come up with a program that practically is breaking even in terms of marketing dollars, like, man, turn that marketing on and let it go, because it's going to generate you cash. And so today we wanted to talk a little bit about the mailers, because I do think that mailers can work. And some people are going to say, oh my gosh, I've tried mailers and they never worked. Well, that might have been 5 years ago. That might have been, maybe it just wasn't a good fit. Marketing tactics work different in different areas. But I think there's a lot of reasons why mailers work now when they might not have worked before. And that's because a lot of people have gone to electronic bills, automatic payments. Nobody gets mail that's really super important that much anymore. And so when they do get mail and it is attractive and it is valuable, they tend to take action on it because there's just less distraction now in the mailbox than there used to be. It's kind of taken this topsy-turvy event, whereas maybe a few years ago, man, everybody was sending stuff. And so it was hard to get attention. So tell me a little bit about the mailer program that you've started to do.
Sure. And I'll touch on what you just said too. I think most people would notice that the amount of junk mail they get has decreased drastically. And I was actually talking to a local grocery store owner. He owns 3 or 4 grocery stores in the local area, and he stopped doing it. And that's something that actually the elderly people got a little angry with him, he said, because they still loved it. They wanted that tangible, sales item, and they still, might go from one grocery store to the next looking for the cheaper deal. And so that made me think that this would work, what we were going to do. And but he went all digital, and I guess he's happy with it. I don't know, but yeah, that's true. So now when you do send it, there's something there, whereas most of that's being turned off. So what we're doing is it's actually through our buying group. We're with APCI. They offer it. It's a super easy program because it's thinkless in a sense. They put the complete ad together, so you don't have to worry about the pricing. You don't have to worry about which products you're going to carry. And by doing so, you pick the mailing routes. They say, hey, here's the mailing routes in your area. Just pick the ones you want to go. And they show you, here's your store. These are the ones that we recommend based off the population. And you can pick, those, go fewer, go more, whatever. We hit everybody we can. We're in a county, actually there's 2 independents in the entire county. And so we hit the entire county at one location, and the other one, we hit about 2/3 of the county. And it's super cheap too. It runs about $500 a month per store. So to hit everybody in your county for $500, I think is very reasonable. And so they also come with, it gives us access to different products that we typically wouldn't have access to through we're APCI McKesson. And so McKesson carries a certain line of products just for that ad program. And I think you have to be part of the ad program in order to get, sounds like I'm pitching something here for APCI McKesson.
No, it's just what works. You're sharing what's right. Worked. And APCI isn't the only one with this type of program. I actually met with my APCI rep a few months ago, and they talked about this. So but no, you're just sharing what works. So
yeah. So it works super well. And so we actually just got the ad today. And so we get a digital copy of what it's going to look like, the products that are going to be available. And so we go ahead and order those. You can't, at this point, I think we've got it set up on auto shipment. So it'll come within the next day or two. And so we're more than 2 weeks out before the next ad will be, which will be for November. And typically runs for 2 weeks. We run it for the entire month. The ad comes saying it's only good for like 2 weeks. We publicize on Facebook and in the store, hey, that we're actually going to honor these prices all month. And people just come in all month grabbing those items. And some of those items you do really well on. So we'll buy a sippy cup for like 25 cents and sell it for $6. And even in the end, I say, hey, just mark it down 50% off, put it by the register, and they fly at that point. You're still making a crazy huge margin. And some things you don't do as well on, but it still is bringing that person to the store.
Absolutely.
And that's a metric. You actually touched on this, and you were the first person that I've actually have heard say people need to be measuring this. And I started measuring it the day I bought the store, because I was like, how can you not know you're growing unless you're doing this? And that is, how many new customers are you adding to your system every month? And to give that number, we were at about 25 or 30, and we were stagnant. So that was like a base level. We'll stay where we are. We're not growing. We're not shrinking. Now we're hitting 65 to 90 new customers per month.
Wow.
Which is, I tell that to people and they're shocked by it, but I don't think most of them even know what they've got. But yeah, we're hitting crazy high numbers for like new people we're adding into our system. And what we need to be able to do is take that information and do, you mentioned this as well, is having some kind of like, hey, this is the first time they're in your store. How are you going to like keep them as or what's your, I forget the term you used, like your first interaction with them or whatever, like converting them.
First impression, the new patient process. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, so we need to step it up and add that too, and my marketer would do that. I've just got to get her on that task. So the whole thing is so easy. The product will come in, we price it in our system. I think most pharmacy PMSs can do this, to where you say, hey, I want this product to be a certain price during this time period, and after that it reverts back to their full retail price. And so she goes in, knocks all that out, puts all the product up in a day, and she's done. It's super easy.
That's fantastic. No, I love these kinds of success stories, because pharmacies, you can win, and you by winning foot traffic, all of that coming in. This is cash revenue. You're not waiting for the money to come in. You might have to wait for a credit card, the next day or something, but this is really cash-based revenue. It's margin that you control. And then now you have this willing population that knows about you. And even that purchase, even if it's something over the counter, they now trust you more than they did before you came in. And now the next time that you go to recommend something, or the next offer that you have, they're going to be more inclined to take out their wallet and purchase from you, because they already know you now. So you talked a little bit about the follow-up. So kind of what are those goals for the follow-up? When these people come in, are you asking them to transfer prescriptions? Are you getting their email addresses? Are you texting them? Well, what is kind of that follow-up? What do you think is next in the plans for you for how to handle
right now? We're not really doing anything. I do teach all of my employees whenever someone says something about transferring prescriptions. I hate it when their first response is, just let us know when you need something and we'll transfer. I was like, no. Like, you go ahead and grab that right now, and we're going to transfer the entire profile over, because anytime you ask the customer to do something, you've lost them. Yep. And if you do everything you can for them. And so what I'd love to do is build on it, like what you just said, is get their email. We could target specifically then their address, and send them messages and stuff, getting their stuff transferred. And or even like they come in and say, oh, what pharmacy do you use? You want to start using us, and just go ahead and get all that information, get their entire family. Anything like that is where we want it to go next. We just have to build that system. I'm all about systems. It's got to work easy and
yep, absolutely.
And fluid. And so we just have to develop that and get it going.
So what do you think your ROI is on this particular program? You mentioned it's about a $500 cost for each pharmacy. What are some of your numbers?
Yeah, so I'll go through that. I'll use the store we started it at first, and I'll just give you our total. This is just a report. I'm looking. My eyes are all over the place here. I'm looking at a report. This is our total taxable dollars we were doing month to month. We'll start in January. So we were doing 7,200. February went to 5,700. March 75. This is when we started the ad program. It's either March or April. I forget the exact month. We jumped to 10,000. In May, we were at 9,000. June, 9,500. and most things, 6 months into is when you really start seeing the fruition of it. 8,700. We'll be caught up to today soon. August, 13,000.
Wow.
And last month, 15,000.
Woo!
We doubled it. So,
yeah, you more than doubled it. And I will say, in a pandemic, everybody said that, you couldn't grow and you couldn't get people to come in and you couldn't. Well, you can, and you just showed it that, just a simple little thing. So I would, your ROI is probably like 3,000% there.
Yeah, and you're making 30, sometimes 40%, sometimes more than that on all this OTC stuff. And that's better margins than you're getting in the pharmacy. No, you're not going to move as much in revenue, but it allowed you to do some things you weren't able to do before if you use that revenue, that new profit, which is what we're doing. I didn't see it as like new profit that, hey, I've got this extra money. I saw it as a new resource for me to grow the business.
Reinvest it. Reinvest it into the business. So,
yeah.
So what's your advice for someone like this? Like, just do it, just try it. I mean, if you lose 500, that's not much, but like you said, I think you got to stick with it for a few months and get people in that rhythm there. But what recommendations might you have for someone?
Yeah, so absolutely try it. I mean, I'd say at least 6 months, at least 3, but I'd say go 6 months and just see. We are in a small rural area. People still like that stuff in the mail, so it might be different in a larger city. I don't know, but it was worked really well for us. And so just do it. Just give it a try. It's not gonna. There's so many other things. I mean, y'all were just. I wasn't able to be there, but at NCPA conference. Which I think is great what you did, like going around, because you can get so distracted at that thing. So that was awesome. It sounded like an awesome idea. I wasn't there to experience it, but yeah, give it a shot. And there's so many things that you can easily spend $3,000 on, and you're talking about $500 for 6 months. So you can spend that in a day. We know with some of these, you want to call them gimmicks or add-ons, whatever, to the pharmacy world.
Yeah.
So yeah. Give it a shot, and you're talking about 6 months of exposure to the entire community. It's done wonders for us, and I can go over too with what we're doing with that revenue. If you want.
Yeah, absolutely. What because that's what it's all about is what's next.
Yeah. So once we hired the college marketer for $10 an hour. We saw what she was able to do, and we had confidence in her. So we've now brought her on full time. So I did the math. I was like, she's more than paying for herself with everything she's doing, and I don't have to touch it. All I have to do is like, hey, give her the tools, point her in the right direction. And so now we're using her as like our OTC looks great all the time. She goes to each store once a week, puts it all. We've actually got it all on perpetual inventory now. It wasn't before. The pharmacy always was, but now the OT section is too. She touches it once a week. So we don't do an everyday OTC order. She does it. She gets a big load once a week. Maybe one Monday at one store, Tuesday at the next store. She has it broken down in sections, so she goes through all the out of dates, a section at a time, to where within like 3 months she's hit the entire store. And she does all of our marketing on Facebook. She's putting together other marketing ideas for it. She's actually reading. I have her reading that. Was it 7-page marketing? I forget.
Oh, the 1-page marketing plan?
Yeah, that's right. So she and I both are reading that. So I was like, the few chapters I've gotten, I was like, this is so simple and easy. Like, this is what we're doing. And she's actually, because she has enough free time, she's going to use this marketing, not just for the pharmacies, but also for the nurse practitioner clinic we're opening. And so like I said, her OTC sales are paying her salary, but now we're using her for like other business ventures, which is
now it's going to multiply. Now it's going to multiply,
and I don't have to do anything. Like I started this. I love the idea. It looks pretty. When I see great marketing, I was like, man, we should be doing that. But it's not that creative mind. Maybe isn't always with the pharmacist. I don't know. We're so analytical. We like things to go 1, 2. 1 + 1 is 2 every time. Marketing's not always that way. So we're just reinvesting it back into it, and it's going to multiply even more, like you said.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Frank. I think you are going to inspire many pharmacy owners. I'd love to, we'll keep in touch and maybe do one of these again after a couple more months with your marketer, and she gets through that 1-page marketing plan, because that's a phenomenal book. It's my most favorite marketing book for pharmacy owners. So just thank you so much for being transparent and opening and sharing your success, because that's what it's all about, is helping each other and helping us make sure we all succeed and thrive.
Yeah, you're welcome.